Kau biar. Orang itu kau nak beli orang ni. Ada beli. Orang. EB. 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 EB berapa yang berapa dia? Kita ada meeting itu apa kau biar? Ada IS. IS. Oh, lewat ni. I would have enough to take that. I think Pugal take Pugal है नहीं Pugal नहीं पावना बैठे क्या? वो बस फिर आप ये तो मेरी तरह है ये सो ऐसा है मेरी पावना तो वो this is your land overnight का वैन का पेंटिंग है वैन का पेंटिंग and approved and almost approved. You can start doing it and give you all another 15 minutes and keep this efficient. Quite simple. So our case study is almost normal. You have to go through it. Quite huge. There are various solutions, various reasons to take it early in the case study. The case study is the most important part of any project assignment or paper or whatever you need. The case study is not probably, you don't understand the case study properly, you're not going to do the project right. If you look at the questions, as usual, starting with designing a plan, and then drawing a network diagram, giving the cost. My type of assignments is a bit different. I might not ask you a question which says to give an introduction about yourself. So you don't directly go with task one and start to draw that. The thing you should do is give me an introduction about what you're going to do. Overall, a brief. That's what introduction is. Right? Introduction is about a brief what's going to happen in the next pages. So it has to be a brief of what's going to be done in the entire project. So to get the brief, you have to get all these questions first. You should know what's going to happen overall. And you have to come up with a small brief within the introduction, which might be around one paper or two paper about what's going to be done. Let's say at the network administrator, at the system administrator, you have to come up with a solution for this. And this is a solution which I'm going to bring out here. You have to come up with a story which supports the case study, which clearly supports the case study. And afterwards, you start to answer the part one, task A, which is to design a land for the new hospital, and then in that case, this preparing a budget, installation cost. You might have done this couple of times, preparing a budget and all the other stuff. Now, what it says is, when you look at the question B, it is something similar to question A as well in terms of the products. Question B asks you about the devices. Talks about the networking devices we are going to use, whatever switches, whatever routers, whatever cabling we are going to use. Every time you come up with the answer, you should compare with it something, so that it makes it why. You should have that. Let's say I'm using Cat5, why? Yes, I'm using Cat5, why? Cat5 was the current cabling structure it was being used, so I think that it's not appropriate enough to expand our infrastructure, and Cat5 has various QoS, which is quality of service. So I think Cat5e would support the proposed architecture in a much better, efficient infrastructure. You have to come up with answers like that. Compare products. So that's going to help you all covering the other stuff as well. Because it's not like explain LAN, bus, mesh. I also can do the copy and it's not only me or me. Can get a kid to do it. Google and good kid. So we have to compare stuff. Nikalu thoroughly under that. Gattana gay gattana na kiya Cat5e use kara gay Cat5e. I remember, I think it's your batch. One guy came up with a cable 5 optic. Where the Ghana and switch Cisco 2650. Ghana sir. He had a modular switch which was number one, and he came up with a cable for 5 optic. Why? 5 optic for that is so it's not about for the cable, it should match the case study. That's why you get your distinctions and merits. Everybody who answers these questions gets a pass, according to what I need. And you get a merit and distinction according to, depending on what you do. Because your research has to be there. You should come up with appropriate answers which matches the case study, not answers which is for this tasks. මේකටම කියලා උත්තර ලියන්න යන්න එපා. නෑ exam question එකක් වඩා දෙන්න. I can give an exam question and say okay answer these questions. Simple. Much more simple than this. You will have to study for that and come back with the answers, but pointless giving an assignment. So every time when you are answering, you have to match it up with the case study. You come up with Cat 5 E, you say yes, currently we are using Cat 5. So I am coming with Cat 5 E. It doesn't mention, my case study never mentions what is the current cabling structure, because I have given you all the liberty of choosing what you want. Because it says what are the drawbacks which the current network has. So you know that since these drawbacks are there, you come up with the better ones and you put up the ones which are not better than what you are using. You have the idea. Case study tells you what the current network infrastructure is about. So you come up with a solution. Why do I do this? Is so I know that there might not be concrete case anywhere. Not from the websites and taking it from your peers. You might not be able to get this project, just like you might not be able to look into this project and come up with answers, because it should be totally different from each other. It's your answer. So, case study it simply elaborates on what is happening inside. That's it. Technically, you have to come up with scopes. If I say that technically the infrastructure is facing a lot of problem in terms of slow network connectivity, then you have to come up with a scope and say yes, currently we are using a Cat5 cable infrastructure and it is a mesh, the network is a mesh, nothing is being isolated. You get this because we learned VLANs, right? We have learned VLANs in switching. So that's going to be the core, that's going to be the core of the entire thing, like the heartbeat. We have to use VLANs to sort this issue, which is a mesh. The network is a mesh and it's quite slow, very slow. I'm just explaining it to you all like a manager does. That's how it should be. So you have the freedom of imagining stuff and coming up with something which is realistic, not like coming up with fiber optic things. Well, come up with an answer which is realistic. End of the day, you do something like this, you know what's happening. You can come up with a suggestion to any, you can go into an office and you can just know, okay, you can ask the manager, okay, what are the problems, okay, we'll do something like this. You can come up with an answer. Because you know what it is. Coffee based Nepal and the another based. You have to know what you're copying and what you're pasting. You should know what it is, the content. So the case study is pretty much important. You should really know what the case study is. You should know what are these departments and what needs importance. Now let's say there is 3 floors over here: reception, accounting, medicine, outpatient clinic, radiography, inspection, administration, clinical trial, and medical examination. If you say that I want to isolate this and this, then you have to say why are you isolating this and this. You want to say that I'm going to provide better connectivity to the administration department, you have to say why. If you say that, okay, there is this first floor, let's say there's a reception, then where do you keep the hotspot? You keep it there. You don't go and put the hotspot in the other floor and say, I'm going to keep connected to everybody. You know. There is a requirement of a hotspot for the visitors. So where do you go and keep the hotspot? Not in the other floor by any means. It should be in the front office. Where the front office is the reception. Reception and the visitors area. The visitors area is by the first floor. So when you come up with the answer, you should come up with an appropriate answer according to what the case study says. So I might not read through the entire project. I can just go through a couple of pages and say what it is about. Okay, I'm a department important. I do not have 200 pieces, 300 pieces over here. Whatever you think, you put. There's no what do you call numbers. You all the number. You choose. You choose. You say, okay, the arbitration has 10, 15, go ahead with 10, 15. Do I have numbers over here? There are numbers. No numbers. Liberty. You have the liberty to choose numbers. You should have. Administration 10, sir, yeah, 10, fine. He might have 10, he might have 5, he might have 6, he might have 20. कितना बड़ी? हमारू है केस स्टडी की हुए लेक्चर का कर लेते केस स्टडी किया है I'm not sure it's online. They might have done one project of mine, so they know how it works when it comes to me. This is the first project you're doing with me. Case study is important. Case study is pretty much important. That's the core. Operating system में आता है application में दाने का होता है. वो ऐसे काटना किलो मेघदान कोई कितना नहीं कोई काटना कोई का body. Unix से काटने लगी ना Microsoft Word put all the other things. Virtualization को मैटर लगी ना Unix platform. What should be understood perfectly here, the case study. You have issues in the case study, you come back to me and say, I don't understand what this is about. Can you give me an idea of how you should do it? The task actually saying it's not so hard. Everything is what is being taught. I know that it's been quite some time that you might have taught certain stuff. If that's the case, you can just come back to me. As I've said, VLAN is an important part. Code security comes into action. Static addressing, that and this, whatever I've taught, we might have some short notes. Probably yes, and the short notes. Just go through that first. Don't open the project and start doing it until you go through your notes and having a recap inside your mind might help you all in remembering what to choose for this particular answer. So, as for now, you might have a broad area of knowledge which is like you don't know what to exactly answer on that question. But now, whenever you use VLAN, you use that and this thing, I might not tell you. You have to use what have been taught here. So first thing you do is not read the project. First thing you do is before you start the project is go home and read through the notes first. So you have an idea of what works out. Then you come and read this. Then you will have a very good answer for this. Part 2 says discuss the network's bandwidth and QoS, quality of service for the proposed network. QoS is something which gives you an overall structure. It is not for one. It's for an overall thing. Quality of service. It says discuss the network bandwidth and quality of service. It's a very small task if you see. What do you get there? Now, they are saying that you have given a proposed network and a new network and tell me how good it is. Why is it good? What are the things which you have added from the previous one to this? And why do you think that this might work perfectly when compared to the older ones? If that's so, discuss. The copy-paste most time it has to be honest. I wonder quality of service what are the we just want Google quality of service. There are 17 different aspects for quality of service depending on network class. That's how we manage. That's how we do it. We have to map quality of service for each and every infrastructure which is in production level. Research level, production level, infrastructure level, we have to map quality of service. Okay. The other one, for the hospital operations and to maintain quality of service, I have given some pieces, really good. Not so hard. I gave some pieces down. 3, 4, 1, 9, 2. So the maximum number is 9. It is the administration. Okay. So, says as per the hospital's operations and to maintain quality of service, the company is in need of dividing the entire network into smaller broadcasting domains. As the network administrator, you have to come up with appropriate, cost-effective, long-lasting network solution. The requested communication flow for the entire network has been listed below. They have also requested for a hotspot at the first floor. I have mentioned that perfectly, which has to be secured and isolated from the remaining network. I very clearly mentioned that. You have to come up with an idea. I cannot do this. I said, I cannot come to argue that, sir, why VLAN here? That's your subject. Should have VLAN. I just now got an email from a new HND. She said that is it mapped with the what do you call content? Yes, obviously it's mapped, but I don't have that particular question based down. So it's mapped. It's on your hand. मैं खुद कर लो कम कर लगी ला क्या करना है anyone can do ऐप को दारा नहीं दे मैं कहती है मैं किया ना copy paste you map it why can't you map it given all that objective in the case you have that this document because people should have it. That's what they expect. This is what we map it. This is what we map it your projects. This is what should be done. You can map whatever you want. So whatever I have given, maps it with that. Order when you map it, but it maps it. It's not in order, so it maps it. You can just have a small look of it and go ahead with it. That's the. You can just have a small look of the learning outcome and this is what my details about and go ahead. I'll be giving this. So, learning outcome का total time. This is how we learn. Learning outcome से होना है. Every project आपके learning outcome में हम project क्या लेते हैं network technology. NT. Learning outcome में क्या होने? Learning outcome में क्या नहीं होने? ढूंढने रख दो. नेका नीला नीला So now I will be sending this along with the assignment, so you can just map it up with it. It's not going to be the same thing over there, but it's what's going to be in the thing. There's some configuration notes over here as well, in case you get confused on how you are going to configure it. It simply says the section should be able to communicate with the clinical trial and accounting departments and isolate from the remaining network. Medicine, outpatient clinic, radiography, inspection, all four of these departments should be able to communicate and isolate from the remaining departments. Accounts and administration should be able to communicate and the administration department should be isolated from the remaining departments. So it says what should be able to communicate and what should be able to, what should be isolated from others. You have to come up with a proper plan. Plan है हर एक का डालो. Plan सबके कैसे बनाता है चलन में. According to what the configuration note says, you have to come up with the plan. So it says explain every configuration of packet tracer using the help of screenshots. Single screenshot and explanation is enough. It has to be done for multiple nodes. One time is enough. Because IP डाला होगा, ये machine system IP डाला तो screen पर capture करना बुला लेगा. लेकिन VLAN configure करने का या this is how I configure the VLAN for the other departments inside this. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of VLAN configurations, which might have more than 20 PCs over there, but 17 pin होना नहीं थी, steps, ठीक है, main steps की कोई तरह pin होना नहीं. And at last, very few questions. Outline and explain the security measures for a secure, reliable network, and also explain the importance of security, both physical and human factors. Threats to network security, network authentication, external network, internet, and wireless networks. I'm making a security clear. And the other one, explain the IPv6 as well. It says that IPv, let's say now, currently we are going to use IPv4. In future, if we have to use IPv6, is my network ready for me? That's what your task is, part 3 task we asked for. You have to explain if your network is capable of migrating to IPv6 in case you are forced to. That's what it says. Express bus of transaction from IPv4 to IPv6 when that's dual conjunction. I have given you only dual conjunction. In case you can come up with an answer and say, no, I'm not going to be ready for it, I will be having dual conjunction mode switched on in case we have one to. You have to think. Like IPv6 I will counting protocol and everything. When I prepare these protocols there, then I will launch them. Get the new ones out. If you give me an answer which is out of the box of which I have been thinking of, here you get a merit for it. Because the merit criteria simply says what we are looking for. M1, identify and apply strategies to find appropriate solutions. Select, design and apply appropriate methods and techniques, which is a common one. Present and communicate appropriate findings. We go to D1. Use critical reflections to evaluate own work and justify valid conclusions. Take responsibility for managing and organizing activities. Demonstrate it is lateral creativity thinking. Come up with something new. Lateral creativity thinking. Pass pen criteria of maturity. Okay. Let's say you want to get a D or M, you have to clock one of these points. Okay. This points D1, D2, D3 has to be clocked. Here, I will explain how we get D and how we get pass. Debriefing again, how we get a pass, how we get distinction, how we get a merit. Pass. You answer all my questions, you pass. Okay. You come into this box, which is my M1 and D1. If you can be one of this M1, it says identify and apply strategies to find appropriate solutions. You come up with appropriate solutions according to my task. You have M1. Understood that right? Second one, select, design and apply appropriate methods and techniques. Whatever methods and techniques you are applying should be appropriate. Point 2. Okay. Present and communicate appropriate findings. Your presentations should be perfectly well. When you are presenting it, when you are presenting a finding, when you are telling me that this is what I am going to do, whoever reads it should understand that, okay, this is what is going to do. You clock all three, you have a merit. You want a distinction. Use critical reflection to evaluate own work and justify valid conclusions. It should be your own work. You have to justify a conclusion. Root of the topic should be perfectly well. You should say, okay, due to all these things, conclusion like anyone in yellow. But that one I want conclusions there. Prediction of conclusions should have a conclusion. Because we have to tell, okay, this is what I have done. Second one, take responsibility for managing and organizing activities. Whatever activities you've done, you should have responsible answer. It says, this is why I took this course. That's what responsibility is. When you come up with an answer, no matter what it is, you should be responsible for that answer. Because if another question comes, why not? You have to answer that. The other question which comes in an ID infrastructure is when you do something, why? So you say why. So how do you say why? The easiest way of saying why is to compare other products. Why? Yeah, this because this is what I was having. I came up with it just because of this. Or if you have to go technically advanced to answer why it came, when you use that, it's possible. It's not that it's not possible. It's easy for you guys. You just can compare it with another skill. Yeah. Yeah, understand what it is, right? What an idea. We have to go through it anyways. We have to go through it a couple of times. Every time before you answer something, before you start the big word or before you start the word document, come up with a blueprint. Not a blueprint, come up with a work graph of whatever you do. This is what I'm going to do here, sketch it somewhere so that you know what you're going to do. When you start typing, you will, okay, Quran there, you have to complete it. The moral is to just complete that document, complete that answer, you will be completing it in a different way. Always pre-plan stuff. Go through the case study, go through the questions, sketch it over here. First my question sketch how many questions do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Question 8 tasks. sketch it, come up with a good solution. It's not so hard. It depends on how you sketch it. 8 questions, very simple. You can come up with. It might be what. Don't think it might not be around 40-50 pages, I guess. Less than that, hopefully. Depends. I had a project which was written by. The first project was given by Vishal Francis. Great guy. He had a very good project designers. Gave him a distinction for it. So I can help you out. You can do the project, come back to me, and whether can implement every Tuesday we'll be meeting on network security. So you can do it every week and come up and show me step by step. We'll finish this off. MT network technology. How long do you need to do it? 16 deadline? When is the deadline? 19. दवा समय आती है टेप देगा deadline might go just give me a couple of minutes. I'll just show this journey again and give it to you. Start doing the assignment starting from tomorrow. In the deadline, I'll give you 3 weeks for it. 3 weeks will be enough. How many days do you want? 3 weeks or 1 month?